Well, finally, I've been trying to get Judy Redlich, the very beautiful Judy Redlich, in here for the longest time when she told me about Harold Sistrunk and their video that they co-produced and Harold directed called Foucs, a Handi-capable documentary.
A what?
A what?
A what?
As opposed to handicap documentary, it's about being handy-capable. And Harold, thank you for also coming here today, Harold Sistrunk.
I met Judy 20-some-odd years ago. I used to watch KNLC, and I was in videography. I worked at Channel 9, Channel 4 briefly, Fox Sports, and so on. Retired now, but I volunteered at KNLC. I was a Christian, and I used to watch the station. And Judy had a show called Christian Connection. I went thinking that I'd volunteer once in a while.
But then you got sucked in.
Once you meet Judy, it's hard to turn
back. Judy is blind. We have to ask the question that's on everybody's mind. Were you always blind, or did you become blind later in life?
Actually, what happened is I was a preemie. I was 3 pounds, 4 ounces, and so they stuck me in the incubator, and the oxygen content messed with my retinas and detached my retinas.
Oh.
Wow.
So I came out of the incubator, and Mom and Dad had to make a choice. Were they going to let me be smothered in their love, poor child, or were they going to jump me out into the world of challenge and, not knowing exactly where I was going to land up. And boy, they chose to give me independence. And so my whole life as I was growing up, I had lots of ways of learning independence.
And it worked.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have 2 sisters, older than I am, and they did treat me like I was very independent. I was their bratty little sister.
Now, this is amazing because, I've known Judy now for 6 months?
Yeah.
Maybe more.
And she has totally...
You just cut to the chase.
Yeah.
And we talk about, disabilities, and we have great conversations, but do you have brothers and sisters? Man, you just right into it.
Well, you got to get the background.
Well, that's right.
Because this morning I was like, you look fantastic. How did you dress yourself that everything matches? And she's telling me this whole thing about how she's got numbers coordinating her colors and all this. And
Yeah, and you know what? My husband doesn't know how to match colors. He can tell me what colors they are.
There you go.
But he goes, I don't think that looks...
Most men are blind.
After she can't sell it. Hey, you look great, honey. You look great.
So my husband tells me one thing and my son tells me another thing. And then I FaceTime my daughter and she says, yeah, that's fine, Mom. Just wear this box number of jewelry. So then I put that on, and then, hopefully I am okay.
Yeah, and here you have a wonderful life. You have kids. It's like okay.
Harold, you and I, let's go get a drink.
Yeah,
we're no longer in this conversation. So.
And you do so much, like Harold was saying.
Now, when I met Judy, she was interested in podcasting for OnStL, and we will soon. I think within a week or so, we will have all of our podcasts up. Judy will be our star. This woman. She comes in and says, I do this thing about disabilities, and we talk about them and various disabilities, and we localize it about St. Louis, everything that we would want on OnStL because it's about St. Louis. And I said, well, what about producing? She said, I can produce. I produce television. She edits her own audio.
Well, yeah.
Then she and Harold get together and say, there's a need here with this video, which is a 30-minute video, and they feature. Let me tell you about the opening scene.
Yeah.
You guys blew me away with this opening scene. You have Judy on a street corner in St. Louis, looking at the camera and talking and introducing the show, and you can see a bus coming up behind her. And right at the time she's done talking, the bus gets her, the door opens, she turns, she walks on the bus. And then you're going, what?
Yeah.
How'd you do that? How many takes did that take, Harold?
Actually, only about 3.
Not bad.
Actually, you failed to mention the shot was purposely out of focus. And the name of the documentary is Foucs. And just as the bus arrived, I had the camera focus up. And
it's
so
very
it was
clever. That is very clever.
Sync.
What other disabilities do people have on this?
As you can, we have...
well, here, I'll name some, and then you can just tell us about them.
Okay.
Gregory Franzen. He has a spinal cord injury at 16 years old, and today, what is he doing today?
Ventilator. He lives on a ventilator, and he has to have care 24 hours a day, nurses round the clock, and but he still amazingly goes out and speaks and does different things around the community.
And he's an
leads Bible
architect,
study.
isn't he?
Yeah, he was an architect, and I don't know how much of that he still does today, but he is a great guy. In fact, one of the things that I have him do is talk to people with disabilities over the phone and encourage them.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. What
Let's
else?
try another one here. We got Becky Radin.
Becky is a slow learner. She has about a 4-year-old, 5-year-old mentality, but she works every day at a sheltered workshop. She takes the bus to and from, and she has her own apartment.
And so these people, were most of them suffering disabilities from birth, or isn't it more difficult if you get later in life?
Well, it varies. For instance, the architect, he had a swimming accident. The young lady here, Paris, who was partially deaf, she went deaf after about 2 or 3 years old.
What they all had in common is they had this common theme of we can do it.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, we want to do it, we can do it, let us do it. And you guys really, you put that message across. Excellent.
Well, you know Judy a few months. When I first met her, what really endeared me was that we all know how studios are. You've got lighting instruments, audio cables, and so on. And she just trekked in and didn't care, walked in. She would trip here.
Yeah,
and
that's definitely
that's the
Judy.
essence of Judy. And she never made any excuses. It was, I happen to be blind, but I can still do this.
Is this directed toward the audience of disabled people, or for people who aren't disabled?
It's really for people who aren't disabled to realize that, hey, people with disabilities have talents and abilities just like they do, except they do them just a little bit different because of their disability.
And where can people find this?
YouTube, they can go to search Foucs, a Handi-capable Documentary.
Okay.
That's one source, and it'll have a preview. And they can also go to the Handi-capable channel.pivotshare.com.
We'll put that on the screen.
If there was one thing that you could say to people who don't have disabilities, who don't have it together because whatever reason, is there some kind of inspirational thing you could say?
To people without disabilities who don't have it together?
Yes.
God's only given us one life to live. And if we don't use our brain like it should be used, we're just losing those minutes and those hours and those seconds of our lives that God has given us.
Again, it is called Foucs, a Handi-capable Documentary.
And thanks to Abusi Michelli Insurance, continuously working to provide the individual coverage you require. They also handle commercial life and health insurance. Contact Tina Michelli at 314-832-6667.